Hoping everyone had a Merry Christmas and looking forward to a Happy New Year. It's got to be better than this last one was, that's for sure. It's been a while since I've done a sheet metal video on the channel. So today, let me show you what I'm working on here. I'm actually working on the bed on the GMC. So the original reverse light tail marker setup, yeah, it's all right. But I've got these right here, which are Cadillac DeVille tail lights with French buckets. So I can French them in and recess them. So I've had these laying around for a while. They were a buddy of mine's. He was going to use them on El Camino and never ended up using them. And they've been laying around the garage here. So I decided I'm going to French some Cadillac tail lights into the GMC bed. So that's what we're going to do right now. So the first thing I want to do is mark the position where this thing's going to sit so I can cut the metal out on the bed to fit it in there. If I can get the Sharpie open. And one thing I liked is the curve. This top corner matches the curve of this. So what I'm doing is trying to keep it asymmetrical to that curve. That way it matches. Looks more natural. And then the next thing I'm doing is centering it up and down so it fits centered in the flat here. So now I got the rough area marked where it's going to go. And you see how this curve matches that curve. So I think that's going to look real nice. But I want to measure and make sure we're about 1 inch here at the top, 0.9 at the bottom. So I need to move that bottom over about 1/10 of an inch. That way it stays nice and even. So that causes a little bit of a problem because if I move it over down here, it's getting into this curve and it's gonna just not look right. So I think what I'm gonna do is leave the bottom where it was at about 0.8 and move the top over to match that. So there it is, it's fit in there. It's recessed in about 2.5 inches. It should be enough to give it a nice little, you know, still be visible from all angles, but still give it that nice shaved look. But now I've got to cut out for the back where the lights go. You can see all this structure back here, which is actually the inside of the stake pocket. So I'm going to have to cut that out, cut these holes bigger in order to make room for this light. One thing I was going to point out when I was using the rotary file, if you keep your rotary file 90 degrees to the surface you're working on, you know, it doesn't chatter as much and makes a much cleaner grind. Well, unfortunately, it's going to be damn near impossible to get a cutoff wheel in there, so it's time for the plasma cutter. So there it is, fit in. I just got to cut it down, weld it in. Yeah, it's going to overhang in spots, so I got to cut that back, make a couple filler panels for the sides. But that gives you an idea what it's going to look like. And of course you'll see it finished here in a little bit. That's where we're at so far. So you can see that sits in there at the top, that sits in there, it's Frenched in quite a ways. For those that don't know, back in the day when they built custom cars, this is called Frenching when they inset it. So the lights sit back in, like on my 48 Ford, I've got some 39 Ford tail lights, teardrops Frenched in. Just gives it a nice cool look with it set in like that, nice and smooth. So, time to trim it and weld it. So there we go. The bucket's tacked in there. I gotta finish welding it, grind it down smooth. You can see that tail light. It's about an inch there, 2.5, 3 inches. And this curve right here, that's what I was talking about. There's that curve and this one matches it, so that looks real nice. It's gonna look good smoothed out. Oddly enough, the pieces that were overhanging on the bucket when I cut them off were perfect for filling these gaps. So I didn't even have to cut any filler panels. I was able to use the remnants from the shaved bucket to fill it in. It's gonna be nice to see that on the truck, see how it looks. Time to finish welding and smooth it out. So I decided to save you another time lapse of me grinding and welding. If you want to see any of that, there's some in my first videos I did, but it's really the same technique. Just jump around and spot weld it all around and then grind it down. Try not to build up too much heat so it doesn't warp. I still got a little bit to fill in and grind, but it looks good. And that'll all be painted body color inside that French bucket. And then that chrome will actually be black. So I plan to black out all the chrome on this thing. But that looks nice. I think it looks a lot better than the factory ones. And that's how you French in a Cadillac DeVille tail light into a '69 GMC.